Every year since 2013, we've covered the fun parts and oddities of Pokémon sprites and later models of the main series and early console games. For the 10-year anniversary of this tradition, we did a revisit of our original video on this topic from 2013, being the top 10 red and blue sprites, since we were just kind of winging it when we started. Now we focus on the weird sprites and models, but back then, we were just like, here's 10, so we knew it needed a revamp. And now with it being the 11-year anniversary on our original follow-up where we looked at the Generation 2 sprites, I think it's time for us to revisit that list, since we were still on our, here's 10 phase at the time. So for this video, we're looking at the weirdest sprites in Pokemon Gold and Silver versions, and I guess Crystal too, but it mostly reused sprites from the other two games with added animation, or revamped the weird ones to no longer make them as weird, so we're really just focusing on Gold and Silver here. You know the drill, these sprites are weird because they're off-model, the wrong color, or we just have some dumb trivia to share about them. And of course, can't have one of these videos without my co-host, Judgment Meter.
I've actually played Pokemon. I know some things about it.
Even though these games are over 25 years old now, I still can't shake the feeling of them being those fresh sequels back in the day. So all I can say is, it's a whole new world we live in. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
It's a whole new way to see.
Do-do-do-do-do-do. It's a whole new place with a brand new attitude, but you still gotta catch 'em all. And it's the top 10 weirdest Pokemon Gold and Silver sprites.
Be the best that you can be.
Number 10, Wobbuffet. Wobbuffet always has a chill and mildly anxious vibe to it, just standing there stoically like in Gold version, or putting up a salute pose like in other games. But this Silver version sprite, he looks so down, he looks so sad, it changes the vibes entirely. I never thought of him having those feelings.
He's so sad because Jessie keeps yelling at him.
No, but like every other Wobbuffet, even the more emotional ones look chipper. They're having fun, or at least being active. None of them convey the sadness that's in the Silver sprite.
MrTopTenList, all Pokemon have feelings, just like you and me.
That was strangely profound for you.
I know, right? The more you know.
Wobbuffet is partially based on a punching bag, so maybe the sad sprite is reminding us that he truly doesn't want to be hit. That's his purpose, but not his dream.
That is so sad. He looks so happy in Emerald. And then you look at Silver, man, they just love having their hands in the air and waving them about like they just don't care. What's its tail for? Just the shadow of the punching bag?
Well, to go off the Pokedex, it says, to keep its pitch black tail hidden, it lives quietly in the darkness.
Wow. Okay. Noted.
Hold on, later generations added that Wobbuffet hides its tail because the tail might hold secrets about it. The tail has secrets, Judgment Meter.
And I'm guessing nobody knows.
Nobody knows because nobody has been able to talk to the tail, because if they do, Wobbuffet will get aggressive and try to slap you away, but not really because it has no offensive moves. Doesn't that make you want to talk to its tail, Judgment Meter?
I know, I really want to. Wobbuffet has issues.
Well, normally I'd stop you, but the Silver version tail is perked up more than any other Wobbuffet sprite, so I'm sure that one is safe.
Hello, Mr. Tail. What do you know? I'm sorry. I just wanted to talk to you. No!
Number 9, Furret. One of my favorite things about first-time sprites is when they have a design aspect that was dropped early on, but not early enough to be absent from the sprite. Furret, in both sprites, has this white mask of fur around its eyes that was never seen after these games, or even during the release window. The official art, anime, cards, and Stadium all did not have the fur mask, so it was either an early concept, or the person designing the sprite had their own idea of what was getting through. Seeing Furret with this white eye mask makes me wonder what could have been, since I like this detail. I get that you don't want to over-design Pokemon, but it doesn't clash with the shades of brown on its fur. It looks cool. Maybe they dropped it early since it's more of a raccoon thing, while Furret is obviously a ferret, but come on, Pokemon combine animals all the time. Let Furret have his little mask as a treat.
He's such a cute little baby. I like the mask. He's a little burglar, and he's clearly a ferret.
Yes, Judgment Meter, it is a ferret.
He's clearly a ferret. Look at his little mouth. I love him.
Also, the sprite was kept the same in Crystal, so that detail wasn't weird enough to get a sprite change like other Pokemon we'll later discuss. discuss. It's even more accentuated on the shiny sprite, where it's against that raspberry yogurt color. That was also my first ever shiny encounter, so I'm extra sentimental towards this one. Well, technically it was Centret, which I evolved into Furret, but still, that was mind-blowing for me in 2001 that there could be a Furret that was this color. Anyway, I long for a world where we get to see Furret get his eye mask back for an appearance. Number 8. Sneasel. This one starts with a simple explanation of the color is wrong. One of Sneasel's coolest features to me is that black fur, but for some reason, the fur was brown in the gold and silver sprites. Probably an early design concept, but it was fixed in crystal, though the ear being that silver color in the old sprite was pretty sleek.
Ah, my favorite, burnt sienna. Takes me back to art school. I like the weasel color. I like the dichotomy of weasel versus neon. Oh my god, do you see that eyebrow wag? It should be sexy weasel. Ha-cha-cha.
You know, I never really thought about what the snee in Sneasel actually stands for.
He's a weasel who sneezes.
While that seems like it would be a cut and dry entry, this Sneasel sprite has a few other oddities. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the only non-legendary Pokemon to have the exact same sprite in Gold and Silver version. It's well known that Gold and Silver had unique sprites for each Pokemon, except the legendary beasts and apparently Sneasel. In Gold and Silver, you can only find Sneasel in the last area of the game, Mount Silver, so maybe the lack of a second sprite and it being tucked away at the end of the game is an indicator that Sneasel was a late addition to the games. Once again though, Crystal fixed this by adding in Sneasel to an earlier part of the game, Ice Path. Finally, the Gold-Silver sprite was different in the Japanese versions, where the oval below its neck is gone, and the oval on its forehead is a bit larger. Something about it feels more naked now without that extra patch of fur below its neck. Also, I think it has a bit more color in its eyes in the international sprite. Lots of strange things going on with Sneasel here. Feels like the start of a mystery, or just me looking too closely at things. Number 7. Slowpoke. I respect how some sprites try doing drastically different poses between the games. The Silver version Slowpoke has always been an odd standout to me, since he has never been belly up outside of this game. He has sometimes sat upwards, but never on his back. He's more of a stomach sleeper, so seeing him upside down makes him look like a turtle that can't get up. I feel bad, like that one Slowpoke from the anime whose tail was stepped on.
He wants you to rub his belly.
That too, it doesn't have to be the sad one.
Oh no, he fell and can't get up. Will you help him get up, audience?
Thank you, Dora. This sprite also pointed out to me that Slowpoke doesn't have that line pattern on its stomach like its evolutions do. When we saw its bottom half in the anime in some form, it was all pink, so this is accurate. It must be part of the mutation when the Shelder bites it. However, with the Japanese sprites, they did actually think about this. Right there, belly up, you can see they included the lines. Even in the Gold sprite where it's on all fours, you can see some of that color peeking out from below. I like how someone thought they were being clever at Game Freak by thinking of this detail, only to be reminded he's not supposed to have this detail, so they cleaned him up to be all pink for the international releases, but only in silver. The international Gold sprite still had the stripe pattern peeking out from below like on the Japanese sprite, so they probably thought we wouldn't notice since it's not as in your face as the Silver sprite, and that's true, I didn't notice until now. They also reused the Gold sprite for Crystal version, so ironically, Silver ended up having the most accurate Slowpoke sprite by the end. Number 6. Exeggutor. This is Exeggutor in Gold version. Now this is Exeggutor in Yellow version. Besides the color, do you see any difference? Of course not, because it's the same sprite. Yellow version sprites were well known back in the day for revamping the Pokemon to look more like the official art compared to Red and Blue version. But when the Gen 2 sprites were made, they still differentiated them from Yellow, even if the Yellow sprites were spot on. Apparently though, they liked the Exeggutor one so much, they just ported it over from Yellow into Gold. If anything, that's a testament to how well done these sprites were by the end of Generation 1. I wonder why they liked this sprite so much compared to the others not to change it.
Looks like the 3 people you go to a bar with and the 3 levels of drunk. Smashed, cool, and I don't know what's another one.
Contemplating.
Contemplating.
Silver got a different sprite, but when the Crystal version sprite was chosen, they reused the gold one, only with the added animation that all Crystal version sprites got. Seeing this sprite make it from Generation 1 all the way to the end of Generation 2 feels like when you could transfer Pokemon from Gen 3 into the Gen 4 games on the DS, or I guess would be more accurate to say the time capsule in Gen 2, since those are the games we're talking about and they actually let you trade between Generation 1 and 2. But still, the point is, I'm happy this sprite made its journey throughout time successfully. Number 5. Quilava. I feel Quilava goes a bit under the radar being a middle evolution of a starter Pokemon, but have you ever noticed its eyes are fully red in Gold and Silver? They fixed it in Crystal to give him the canonical white eyeballs, but I kinda like the red eyes. It feels like it's back to some of those old Pokemon sprites where they look feral, like this Quilava is pissed, so pissed that he popped the blood vessels in his eyeballs. I'm interested to know why and where in the development process they changed the red eyes for him. They also forgot to change the red eyes on the back sprite when they went with the intended design in Crystal version, so apparently in that game, he's only super pissed when he's on your team. Another reason I liked the demonic eyes is I was a Chikorita guy.
You would be.
What does that mean?
What does that mean?
No, don't just repeat the last thing I said. Anyway, the point is, I chose Chikorita, which means my rival chose Cyndaquil, and I struggled with that one rival fight in Azalea Town, so it made the fight feel more thematic since this creature with demonic red eyes was staring me down as he decimated my team over and over again.
How can you say he's a demon? Look at his little paw. Look at the silver one. He's reaching out his paw to do shake.
What do you mean? Look at its eyes. It looks like it wants to consume one's soul.
No, paw.
No. Death.
Bayleaf, what do you think of that?
Another note, its tail fire is segmented on each side rather than a single quill thing of fire like in later iterations. Not as exciting as the red eyes, but it's fun to see that he got 2 changes that no one seemed to care about.
Aww, each butt cheek can shoot fire out individually. How evolved.
Number 4, Geodude. Geodude's gold sprite always bothered me. Not where I'm mad, but it always felt off. Like this doesn't look like Geodude to me. Red and blue had that sprite where the texture on the head looks like an exposed brain, yellow fixed it where he looks more like the anime, and then gold went back to something odd. It's a combo of, I think he looks too round in this sprite where the roughness of a rock just isn't there, and the face, I don't know, that's not Geodude's face. The eyes don't seem right, and maybe it's the mouth too. I think he needs his tongue, which has been both stone color and red.
I understand what they were doing because tongues are usually red and the color contrast is nice, but thinking about it, it freaks me out a little bit because he's a rock.
But he's a fictional rock.
And rocks shouldn't lick.
And what made it stand out more is Silver version had a perfect sprite for Geodude. The roughness is there, the face looks right, and he's a bit lighter, accentuated by his outline. The pose is also better in Silver. Gold looks like he's a grumpy old man yelling at kids to get off his lawn. Silver looks like he's a cool guy winding up a punch, or doing a pose like he's singing, "Stop in the name of love."
He's old man Geodude, and Silver is young man Geodude. Gold Geodude eats dinner at 5, and Silver Geodude eats dinner at 8. That's the difference.
That being said, they chose to use the gold Geodude sprite again in Crystal, just with a closed mouth now since he opens it during the animation, where he shakes his fist, further showing that he's a curmudgeon in this sprite.
It really looks like he's saying,
"Get off my lawn, you basket cats!"
So Geodude, even though I don't like this gold sprite, somebody did enough to use it a second time, but I hope he never looks this smooth again. Number 3, Delibird. Plenty of gold and silver sprites have one feature that was later changed for Crystal version, but for some reason, the one difference with the old Delibird sprites stand out so much to me, and it's so minor. In the official art and Crystal version, the 2 feathers above its eyes are pointing upwards, but in gold and silver, they look more level to its head, as if someone combed his hair, and I don't know why, but whenever I go back to these games, that detail has always mildly irritated me. It's more noticeable in the silver sprite since the Crystal sprite uses the same pose but makes the feathers accurate, but I like the gold sprite better since it feels more active. It's like he's waving to us at a parade or at a Meet Santa location at the mall.
he looks like a people who just robbed a house.
What? No, he's based on Santa Claus. He's literally doing the opposite. His bag is full of presents for the children, though you can teach him thief.
I go by what I said. It looks like he stole that stuff and needs to make a quick getaway. Oh, he's hailing a taxi.
I think the sprites particularly look extra weird to me because my introduction to Delibird in-game was actually in Crystal version after they fixed the sprite. My first Gen 2 game was Gold, which did not have Delibird available in the wild, and I don't think it was on any trainer's teams, so I never saw his sprite throughout that entire game, meaning Crystal was the first time I encountered him, and then he was in the anime as a reoccurring nuisance for Team Rocket, and then years later I played Silver to complete the trio of games where I encountered a Delibird and was like, whoa, you look like that? Another thing I noticed is the button on its belly is not outlined in Gold and Silver, and it was another change they made for Crystal and beyond, though I kinda like it not outlined since it looks like it's meant to blend into the shape of its fur. However, the button is outlined on the official art, so I guess he can be accurate now. Number 2, Lugia. Now Judgment Meter, I know Lugia is one of your top favorites, so what I'm about to say is just about its sprite in one game and not about Lugia itself, so don't get mad. Lugia in Silver version looks a bit like a doofus.
I don't like you anymore.
What? No, I said it was just this game.
He's my Beppy. I love him. Though I did just realize that his wings are fingers. What? He has huge French toaster stick finger wings.
On one hand, it did not bother me as a kid since he was a legendary and I just wanted to use Aeroblast, but something about it always seemed off to me, and I think I know why. In Gold version, the two box cover legendary birds had parallel sprites, where they are head down, ass up, like they're swooping down to cry at us. The same sprites were used in Crystal, but for Silver, they did something different with them, where they had their bodies straight as they were mid-wing flap. Ho-Oh was flapping its wings down, which was fine, wasn't the best or worst look for it, but for Lugia, its wings were going in the opposite direction. The wings were flapping upwards, and something about him just looks like it should not be flying in this sprite. It looks more like he's going to fall, as if he's doing a belly flop in the water.
We are no longer friends.
That's not even an insult, you find him in a giant body of water.
He can do whatever he wants. It's his water. He's my Beppy.
I don't recall Lugia ever doing this arms up pose until later sprites had him in a different position while flapping upwards. For example, on the box cover he's flapping downwards, and on the cards from this era and the official art, all of his wings are down or straight, so I think this sprite is just the result of if you freeze-framed Lugia in an awkward pose while he was flying normally. However, in overanalyzing for this video, then it hit me. The reason I think I was fine with Ho-Oh flapping but not Lugia is on the intro screens for Gold and Silver, it shows the birds in silhouette. Ho-Oh is flapping just like in the sprite, but Lugia is gliding above the waves like a cool guy, so I thought of him flying that way, which is more like how the Gold sprite had him, where he's swooping downwards. So in the end, I think I was just expecting Lugia to be doing a dive bomb rather than flap his wings, even though I watched Pokemon the movie 2000. At least, that's how I assume I got this internal bias against the Silver sprite. Regardless, Lugia later flapped his wings to my liking, and in the end, he's a legendary, so he can pose however he wants to. Why not do some honorable mentions? Togetic. This sprite has always looked too big to me. Togetic is still supposed to be tiny, but this sprite makes him look proportionally larger, also kinda yellow. Corsola. Not really sure how to describe this one, but here's my best explanation. Corsola was meant to look round for its body, that's also its head, and then it has stalks of coral on top. But here, it looks more like a semicircle that leads into the coral. It also looks like it has Kirby's face here. Machoke. This one is here for the Crystal sprite. I like that in the intro animation, he flexes his pecs Johnny Bravo style. Hoo-ha-hoo!
Oh my god, his pecs wiggle. Did you know he could do that?
Were you not expecting him to be hot?
No. Wow. Yeah, wow, he is.
Umbreon. Almost all the quadrupedal sprites have their upper half facing left, but Umbreon is facing right, which would not be an issue, but to be crass, when it uses attacks like Mud Slap or Sand Attack, it looks like the move is spewing out of its butt. Poliwag. Its eyes are popping off of its head. I don't think any other interpretation versions of it do that. Also, remember when I used to wear a Poliwhirl mask? I have no follow-up to that question. I just wanted to see if anyone remembered. And Crobat. It would not be one of my Generation 1 or 2 lists without something from the Zubat line. Crobat is another example of an early design concept. Its eyes are different. Crobat just doesn't hit the same if it doesn't have those perpetually angry eyes. I also have a friend that says he has the face of Crobat, so Crobat's official face is very memorable to me. For number 1, it's the sprite that has always bothered me for how off-model it felt in Gold and Silver, yet at the same time, I like some of that early Pokemon jank. Number 1, Houndoom. Houndoom was always one of those Pokemon that was effortlessly cool. It's a hellhound with bones on the outside and horns, and it breathes fire. Come on, this is like your edgelord design that everyone loves. The sprites for Houndoom in Gold and Silver were able to translate the major beats of the design from the official art, but in a way that felt like how the red and blue sprites exaggerated Pokemon features to not look like how the Pokemon were intended to look. What I mean by that is, everything on the Houndoom sprites feel like they're bigger than they're meant to be. Starting with the Silver sprite, since that's closer to the default art pose and the later Crystal sprite that was on model, look at anything on it. Doesn't it feel like it's bigger compared to the other art? The bones on its back are thicker, its skull collar is larger, the tail even seems a bit bigger, and most noticeable to me are the eyes. They're like double the size of the standard eyes.
He is the cutest little hellhound dog I've ever seen. He's stamping for Kibs. He wants Kibs. That Dougal is waiting for Hades. He's a good boy. I'm a good boy. I'm a good boy. I'm a good boy. I'm a good boy.
For Gold, it had the same features, but it's doing a very Gen 1 thing and spitting out a bit of fire. That little action immediately makes me think of the red and blue sprites, since I only ever recall Ninetales and Charizard in Japanese red and green version doing that. It's meant to look cool, but something about it dates the sprite. I also like how the Gold sprite's eye looks a bit happier here, like he's pleased to perform this trick for us. And that leads me to the final weird thing about this sprite. It's got that red glowing effect around the eyes. Maybe that's supposed to be it brimming with firepower, but I think it more looks like he has kawaii anime cheeks. You know, those red ovals under an anime character's eyes who's supposed to be cute. Couldn't you just imagine magical girl Houndoom saying something like,
I'm an anime girl. I run with toast in my mouth. I hope senpai notices me.
The sprite was completely redone for Crystal, looking near identical to the official art. Even the back sprite got a complete design overhaul, showing more of Houndoom's head and neck now rather than its back. The back sprite also made me realize that the older sprites looked so much bigger since he barely used to have a neck. So for the topic of original Houndoom, its sprite being the sort of mess that it was with lots of fun details made it the best sprite to pick as the weirdest sprite from Pokemon Gold and Silver versions. Now, what did you think? Were all these sprites weirdly fun or funly weird, or not weird at all? And what are some of your favorite sprites from Gold and Silver, whether we discussed them or not? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and we will see you in the next video.